All right, so are you ready to talk A Court of Mist and Fury?
Always ready for some Sarah J. Maas.
It's book two of A Court of Thorns and Roses,
Oh,
and
it's good.
things get so intense. We're going deep on this one, exploring why it resonates, especially with what Fauves' book Spotlight had to say.
They brought up some great points.
Ready to talk trauma, healing, fairies, all that.
Let's dive in. What's interesting about A Court of Mist and Fury is how Maas uses contrasting settings like the Spring Court and the Night Court. It really shows different approaches to healing from trauma.
You're so right. We start with Feyre, back in the Spring Court, after everything with Amarantha. On the surface, she's with Tamlin. It's all beautiful and safe.
Right, but as Fosri's pointed out, it's like Maas is showing us how trauma can linger. It doesn't just go away because things look pretty.
Exactly. Feyre's dealing with so much.
Yeah.
And the Spring Court, despite its beauty, it kind of becomes like a gilded cage. Yeah.
Totally, and Maz's writing, it's so vivid. She makes the spring court almost feel suffocating, like a gorgeous flower that's slowly wilting.
Ugh, that imagery. And then there's Tamlin. In book one, he's the hero, right?
Yeah.
But his behavior, it changes so much. He's overprotective, controlling, almost possessive of Feyre.
Like the Fauves reads folks said, it's a huge shift. And even though Tamlin's trying to protect Feyre, all that control actually makes her PTSD worse. Someone healing from trauma needs the opposite of that.
Yeah, like he's trying to keep her safe by locking her in a tower, which just traps her even more.
Exactly. And that's where the Night Court comes in. Especially the hidden city of Valeris. It's a complete contrast. Instead of this stifling beauty, Valeris is vibrant, alive, pulsing with energy.
Love that. It celebrates individuality, and Feyre can finally breathe. And then Rhysand,
Ooh,
the
recent.
High Lord of the Night Court. At first, he seems so dark and mysterious, but he flips everything we thought we knew.
Don't forget, the Fey world is divided into those courts, each ruled by a High Lord. Different powers, ancient laws, all that.
Right. And unlike Tamlin, Rhysand sees Feyre's strength. He sees a warrior, not a victim.
He sees right through the mask she's wearing, the one she probably doesn't even realize is there. And like Foz Reed's highlighted, he helps her confront her trauma. But he doesn't try to fix her.
Yes. He gives her space to heal, to rediscover herself. And this is where Maz's character development shines. Rhysand's inner circle, Mor, Cassian, Azriel, Amren, they all play a role in Feyre's journey.
They become her family, giving her support and challenging her to grow. That scene where Feyre has a panic attack while training with Rhysand, it's raw.
Oh, so powerful.
And Rhysand doesn't freak out or try to control it. He just holds space for her. That's exactly what she needs.
Such a good point. It's like a lesson in empathy, right? How to support someone dealing with trauma. That kind of character interaction, that's what makes this book so compelling.
And let's not forget the politics. Maz introduces this whole world of high lords, alliances, power struggles. It gets complicated.
For sure. So Prythian, this magical land, 7 courts, each with a high lord and their own unique powers and personalities. Fierce thrown into all of that.
And she's not just a pawn in their game. Maz lets Feyre actively engage. She uses her intelligence, her intuition to form alliances, influence things.
Yeah, she challenges assumptions, speaks her mind, and remember, she comes from the human world, where things were already tough for women.
Now she's dealing with these high lords, most of them arrogant and powerful men.
Exactly. So it's about more than just navigating Fey politics. It's about female agency in a world dominated by men.
Feyre doesn't lose sight of her own goals. She's not afraid to speak up, to challenge authority, fight for what she believes in.
She goes against the grain. And that's what makes this book relevant. It's not just fantasy. It's about real issues, power, control, equality.
More than just a romance.
Absolutely. It's about finding your voice, breaking free from expectations, forging your own path.
And this is only the beginning. Feyre uncovers prophecies, hidden truths, and the stakes get higher.
Okay, so we've got trauma, healing, politics, and now prophecies. Before we go further, what from this section really stood out to you?
The settings, how they mirror Feyre's internal state. The spring court, even though it's beautiful, it represents captivity. And Valeris, with all its chaos, that's where she heals, where she grows.
It's like sometimes the prettiest cages are still cages. And real freedom is in embracing the messy parts of ourselves.
Exactly.
That's powerful. It makes you think about the spaces we choose to be in and how they affect us. All right, listeners, when we come back, we're talking about Feyre confronting her past and discovering the truth about her power. It's intense, so stick around.
Welcome back. We're in the thick of it now with A Court of Mist and Fury. Feyre's starting to figure things out, her place in Prythian. And it's a lot more complicated than she thought.
Way more. It's like she's peeling back layers, uncovering these truths. But some of them she's put on herself without even realizing it.
Yeah, and that whole process of uncovering the truth, that's central to Feyre's healing, to her taking back her power.
For sure. And speaking of uncovering, the Fauves reads, folks, they talked about symbolism.
Oh, yeah.
Maas uses it to really show us Feyre's transformation. Like, what kind of symbols are we talking about here?
Well, think about Feyre's powers. At first, she believes they're a gift from Amarantha, her tormentor.
Right, right.
But as she trains with Rhysand, she starts realizing that power, it was always hers. Amarantha just twisted it, stole it.
Whoa, so her magic, it represents her stolen agency, like all her repressed strength.
Exactly. It's not just controlling magic. It's Feyre taking control of her own life, her own story.
That's so powerful, taking back what's rightfully hers, literally and metaphorically.
And Fauves reads pointed out how this ties into Feyre understanding Prythian's politics more. Remember, it's a world ruled by High Lords. Power's always shifting.
Right. It would have been easy to make Feyre just a passive observer,
Yeah.
relying on Rhysand or someone else to guide her.
But Maas doesn't do that. Feyre's in the thick of it. She uses her smarts, her gut feelings to form alliances and make things happen.
She challenges those assumptions, speaks truth to power. She's got this unique perspective, and she uses it to navigate all those alliances and betrayals.
And don't forget, she's from the human world. Women are often silenced, marginalized there, so her journey in Prythian, it becomes even more meaningful.
Totally. Like she's fighting against the Fey world's patriarchy and the stuff she's internalized from being human.
Exactly. And that's what makes the book so empowering. It's not just romance or escaping a bad relationship. It's about Feyre dismantling systems of oppression and realizing her full potential.
Okay, so we've got healing, politics, social commentary, and Maas is weaving it all together masterfully. But we can't forget about the war with Hybern.
Right. The stakes are so high. Hybern represents tyranny, everything Rhysand and his court are fighting against.
And the Fauves Reads podcast, they made a good point about Maas not shying away from how brutal war is. The characters we love, they experience loss, heartbreak. They face unimaginable things.
And yet, even with all that darkness, there's so much courage, loyalty, selflessness. They're fighting for more than just survival. They're fighting for what they believe in. Love, freedom, the right to choose their own path.
It's in those moments, the intense ones, that Feyre truly becomes who she's meant to be. Not that scared girl from the spring court. She's a warrior, a leader.
That scene where she confronts Tamlin, chills.
Oh, I know.
He's sided with Hybern, and Feyre breaks free from him. It's powerful, defiant.
Fauves Reads talked about how Maas flips the script on gender roles in that scene. Feyre's not waiting for a man to save her. She's taking charge, making her own choices, fighting for herself.
Right. She's not a damsel in distress. She's a force to be reckoned with. And as that final battle happens, we see Feyre beside Rhysand, using her magic, her mind, to outsmart the enemy.
And that ending. True. Relief, satisfaction, but also hope.
Maas, though, she's smart. She leaves us wanting more. There are still questions, challenges ahead.
It stays with you, makes you think about the themes, the characters, how they connect to your own life.
And that's what we'll talk about next. The lasting impact of A Court of Mist and Fury. Those deep messages it leaves us with.
This is where it gets really good, folks.
Yeah.
We're going deep into the heart of this book. Stay with us. We're back. And I have to say, that ending, I'm still processing it all. But beyond the battles and the romance, what really gets me is how impactful this book is. Like, weeks later, I'm still thinking about Feyre's journey.
Right. And the things that makes you think about yourself.
Exactly. Maas is such a talented writer. She
Yep.
pulls you in, and the characters, they feel real. You connect with them.
They stay with you even after you finish the book.
For sure. And Fauves Reads, the podcast we've been talking about, they really got it. That emotional depth in A Court of Mist and Fury, they nailed it.
They did.
They went beyond just, okay, here's what happened. They dug deeper. What were some of the takeaways they highlighted that really resonated with you?
Well, one big thing was self-discovery. But not just like a one-time thing, more like it's a process, ongoing, always evolving.
Yeah.
Feyre going from being trapped under the mountain to, a warrior queen, it's not a straight line.
No, definitely not.
There are setbacks, doubts. She's vulnerable sometimes.
It's messy. It's a struggle.
And that makes it real. We can relate to that.
So much more relatable than if she just flipped a switch and became fearless.
The Fauves Reads hosts, they said it so well. This connects with our own lives. We all have darkness. We go through tough stuff. We doubt ourselves.
Right.
But Feyre shows us we have the strength to get through it, to come out stronger on the other side.
It's that resilience, finding the power to heal, to grow. That's what sticks with me. And it comes through so strongly in Feyre's relationships, especially with Rhysand and his circle.
Yeah, those relationships are key.
Fauves, they did a great analysis of those, talking about finding your tribe, the people who see you, support you, no matter what.
It's like chosen family.
I love how they put it that way. Not just allies, but family. Mor, Cassian, Azriel, Amren. They each bring something different, their strengths, their vulnerabilities.
Creating this dynamic that helps everyone heal and grow.
It reminds you that you don't have to go through things alone. Finding those people who accept you, flaws and all, it changes everything.
It's powerful.
And it's not just about receiving support, it's about giving it too. Rhysand, with Feyre's panic attack, he just holds space for her, doesn't try to fix it, doesn't tell her what to do.
That's huge.
It shows how important empathy is in relationships. Really listening, letting someone process things in their own way.
Yeah, we can all learn from that.
Whether it's a friend going through something hard or just being more present with the people in our lives.
Exactly. And on a bigger scale, Fauves also talked about the social commentary in the book. Like how Maas uses the spring court and the night court to make a point about patriarchy, about what society expects from women.
Oh, absolutely.
Spring court, all about beauty, control, tradition. It's so restrictive. Women are objectified, silenced.
Totally.
Then Valoris, it's the opposite. Vibrant, accepting, celebrating who you are. It's a vision of a better world.
A more equal world.
Feyre going from one to the other, it's like a symbol of breaking free from all those expectations and embracing who she really is.
And that message, it hits hard.
Yeah.
Especially now, when women are still fighting for equality, for the right to make their own choices.
Fauves also made a point about Maas not shying away from those power dynamics, the personal ones and the political ones.
Yeah.
Feyre, even though she's in this world ruled by powerful men, she figures out how to navigate it all. She's smart, brave, and she's got a good heart.
She doesn't just go along with what's expected of her. She pushes back, challenges things, finds her own way.
That's inspiring, especially for anyone who's ever felt underestimated.
It shows we have the power to change things, to make the world a little more fair.
Yes.
So as we finish up our deep dive into A Court of Mist and Fury, thinking about everything Fauves brought up, I'm just so grateful for Sarah J. Maas, for her story, for these characters.
Me too. It's powerful stuff.
Feyre's journey, it's all about resilience, love, friendship, and finding your voice, standing up for what you believe in.
And never giving up.
It's a story that stays with you. It reminds you that even when things are dark, hope, courage, the fight for freedom, those things can win.
They really can.
And on that note, I think we have to leave it there.
We do.
But listeners, I encourage you, go read A Court of Mist and Fury. Discover the magic, the excitement, the power of this story. It will stay with you.
I promise.
Until next time, happy reading.